What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another edition of Mean Streets, powered by FTN right here on Game Plus Network. Chris Meaney here with you. Lots to talk about on this show today. It is opening day in the NBA. We have two games on the schedule. The first one, the champion Milwaukee Bucks. That's right, the defending champion Bucks take on the Brooklyn Nets. And then in the nightcap, we have the Los Angeles Lakers. Kind of a new look Lakers squad here. Russell Westbrook on the team. Rondo's on the team. Carmelo's on the squad. What year is it? I don't know. We'll see if the Lakers can take care of the Golden State Warriors tonight. You know, on Friday, we previewed the NBA season. We talked about some futures, some win totals. We also talked about MVP odds. We had some fantasy basketball sleepers, some targets. You're running out of time to do some drafts. I know that there's some people out there that like to wait, as late as possible to do drafts. Maybe there's somebody out there who's drafting tonight in the NBA, but you can go back and watch that season preview on our FTN YouTube page with Steph Vaccarino and Zach Graham, Kwisenberg DFS, and I think it's Big Play Money is what Steph calls himself on the Twitter machine. Both guys are absolute studs. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek comment there, but both guys win a lot of money. They're both really good at DFS, and they're both great at picking plays in the NBA. Also, another guy who's a stud in the industry and over at FTN is Joe Metz. He's going to join me today. I expect nothing but, he better be rocking some Bucks championship gear. This is what I would expect him to wear today, right? Ring ceremony. A big moment for Joe Metz and all the Bucks fans here tonight. I'll put him in his place if it's all Bucks. Don't worry, I'll put him in his place. Producer Tino's a Nets guy. I'm sure he's going to want to jump in and say something as well. These two maybe just fight back and forth, but we'll get Joe's thoughts on tonight's games from a betting standpoint. We'll dive into some props. We'll talk a little bit of DFS. And speaking of DFS, I wanted to give some love to our NBA package over at FTNDaily.com. Today only, $50 off FTN Daily using the promo code NBA50. It ends at lock here this evening. So when the first game tips off, that's it. You're not going to be able to get this promo. We'll talk to Metz about his role inside FTN Daily, what he's going to do and what he's going to bring to the table. But there's a lot that the package has to offer, and we've sold a ton of packages already. Man, I wish the NHL was this package friendly. I'm seeing a lot of people sign up FTN Daily. We have some sharp minds. A lot of money's been won in the preseason already, and last year super successful, I think, for our first year NBA DFS. But we have the optimizer, which is super cool, and it's free for, the entire MLB playoffs here, which, you have an opportunity to go in and check it out, get comfortable with it. But the optimizer, the projections, we got rankings from Fast Eddie Fear. We're going to have a couple multiple streams, really, it's a light night in the NBA. It's only 2 games, but Wednesdays are usually jam-packed, Fridays. So there's usually a couple streams to help you get set up. You got the Discord channel as well. So a lot that the package has to offer. Again, the flash sale, $50 off, ftndaily.com/pricing. Sign up for the month, feel it out, see if it's going to be worth your while, and then you can, re-up for, the annual and get involved that way. So ftndaily.com/pricing, promo code NBA50 gets you $50 off. It is today only. And also a shout out to our package. You saw me tweet out earlier. If you're following along here on my Twitter account live, you have any questions, jump over to our YouTube page, leave them there, and we'll get to them throughout the show. I'll circle back on the YouTube page just to see if you're watching the replay of this show and you do have a question. I want to be able to get to it and answer it. I'll revisit that. But if you are live watching, thanks for taking the time here. If you're watching on Game Plus Network, we appreciate you as well. But our betting package, as I tweeted out, it's $49.99 per month, and I'm seeing a lot of people just not a ton. I'm not that popular. A couple questions here and there. Not popular at all, by the way. A couple people reaching out with, where can they get the hockey bets, the shot props and whatnot. There's 2 ways. One, this show. Yesterday, we were perfect 5 for 5 in hockey yesterday. Actually, lies. We had all the shot props, the 3. We had the under in the Flames game. We had St. Louis in the puck line, but I also gave Calgary. They lost in overtime, so we didn't get that. But the shot props, you can hang out here with me in this show. I got a couple today. There's 11 games in the NHL today. 11 games. Everybody's talking about basketball. There's 2 games. I'm excited that the NBA is back too. There are 11 games in the NHL tonight. There's a lot of action. I got some picks, some money line picks, going to attack some teams and also some shot props towards the end of the show. But you can get them by watching this show. You can get them every day because I give a whole lot more over at FTN Daily or FTNBets.com. So you can get the betting package, use that promo code NHL. It's 20% off, and that's going to go away very soon. But you can get not only just the NHL bets, you're going to get the NBA bets, you're going to get MLB bets, you're going to get absolutely every sport across every sport, and everybody that gives bets over at FTN, you're going to get them. So you can sign up for the monthly package if you want, feel it out, see if it's worth your while. And like I said, with the daily, you can re-up if you want to go for the entire year, because I understand it could be a lot of money to spend right away. And, maybe you're unfamiliar with how things work, but we keep track of every bet across every sport. We have a bet tracker, sides, totals, parlays, teasers, props. It's all there for you. And you can pick and choose which expert you like and say, hey, Josh Gross is unbelievable at every sport. Let's tail Josh Gross here today. Elliot Chris is great at sides, so I'm going to, go with Elliot Chris in the sides. And, Matthew Friedman is great at props. I'm going to attack his props. So it's all there for you at ftnbets.com. So again, the monthly package, $49.99. Use that promo code NHL. Save yourself a little bit of cash. So you can get the picks daily over there, and you can get them here in the show. And a deeper show in terms of hockey is Dangle, Bet, Selly with myself and Eric Young. We already recorded today's episode, as I mentioned, 11 games. We broke down all the 11 games. We gave our favorite picks, our favorite props, and some DFS plays throughout the show. And that show is now, it's free, by the way, Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can watch it live from my Twitter account or our YouTube page, ftnbets.com. You can watch the replay there. And you can listen now on Apple, Spotify, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. And we would appreciate a rate and review. Eric wants those 5 stars. I'm not going to hold you to 5 stars. You can give 3 or 4. It's all good. But we do appreciate a rate, review, subscribe. And if you do subscribe to that show, screenshot it, send me a DM at Chris Meaney, email me. meanstreetsftn@gmail.com, and we'll be giving away some betting packages on that show in the next couple episodes. I've already seen a couple. Appreciate it. Going to take those entries, those screenshots, your name, put them in a hat, draw, and give away a couple betting packages. So not only the hockey picks there for you, but some NBA and all that stuff. So all of that kind of taken care of off the top. Metz is hanging by. We'll get to him in just a little bit. I wanted to quickly talk about last night. My goodness, what a football game. We've been treated to some really good football games, some primetime games. If you're a Bills fan, you're a little bit sour with how yesterday went. You know what? I'll say this about the ending. I liked going for it. I liked McDermott going for it. Yeah, you're 4th and 1. I still think overall, if they kick the field goal, you got a great kicker in Bass, you get to overtime, and you still probably find a way to win that game. But Derrick Henry was really picking up steam. He started off slow. He had the big, long touchdown run. It's kind of why you don't take unders with Derrick Henry, even though the Bills have had success slowing him down. It just takes one run with that guy. He's unbelievable. 143 yards and 3 touchdowns. His yards per attempt wasn't great, but he just wears down defenses. You saw on the broadcast last night, yards per carry in the first, yards per carry in the second, and the third, and the fourth, and it's just increase with every quarter. He's just such a beast, and even still going 4th overall on average this year in fantasy drafts, straight up disrespected. Like, everyone talks about him wearing down. Oh, maybe he's going to get fewer carries. He's going to, until we see it, this guy's not getting worn down at all. He's just running over dudes, and he looks awesome. But nonetheless, that play at the end, I'd liked going for it. Maybe McDermott's thinking was, I don't want to go to overtime and lose the coin toss, a 50-50 coin toss, and then the Titans get the ball and they march all the way down the field and get a touchdown, and it's GG. It's game over. But I would have liked to see them call a different play. I mean, they call the 4th and 1. It's a 0% chance you're going to score on that quarterback sneak. Then you would have had to call a timeout. So you would have one more timeout left and 15 seconds roughly left to call maybe 3 plays from the 3, maybe just 1, and who knows, right? So I liked the aggressiveness and going for it. I just didn't like the play call itself. I thought, and usually Allen would get that. He's a big body. It's just 1 yard. It looks like he lost his footing. Give credit to the Titans defense for that stand. But I see like a bit of a bootleg in there. Throw to Diggs. He was obviously a guy that could just, he was taking apart that depleted secondary last night. Jack Rabbit Jenkins struggled last night covering Diggs and everybody else in Buffalo. We've got about 10 minutes here off the top, but we did okay with the picks. We're going to hold ourselves accountable here. We didn't get Zach Moss 10.5 rushing attempts. We didn't get Ryan Tannehill over 15.5 rushing yards. We did get him to have a touchdown. We all celebrated. Tino had it as well. Plus 500 to have a rushing touchdown for Tannehill. We didn't get Henry over 13.5 receiving yards. He had 13. We did get Sanders 54.5. We did get the Titans plus 6. And luckily, we were able to hedge because, like we said yesterday, we had the Bills for 7 units. But this show was okay yesterday. It was 10-4, including hockey. We had the over with the Red Sox. We'll talk Red Sox. We'll talk Dodgers tonight. It is busy here today. October is the best. Hockey, NBA, football, and baseball. We're going to have a lot of picks on this show. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff here. So hopefully you are hanging out with us. We're going to have some good days. We're going to have some bad days. But yesterday was one of those good days. 10-4, 10 plus units. Hopefully we can carry this over. And I think we're going to start strong here with Joe Metz. He's hanging by. We're going to talk about the 2 NBA games here today, get some picks and some props and some DFS plays. And we'll revisit futures. If you didn't have an opportunity to watch the show, we'll talk about some futures and some MVP odds because I think there's a lot of value with one of the teams playing here tonight. And it's not the Bucks. It's not the Bucks. Hang on. Joe Metz is it with us? We're going to talk some NBA here next on Mean Streets. Keep her locked. Welcome back to Mean Streets here on a Game Plus Network. Chris Meaney and Joe Metz. Oh, baby, I like that sweater. That's real nice. You got the Bucks behind you. You know, producer Tino didn't want to join today. I think he was just a little...
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. He didn't really want to talk about the Nets or talk about your Bucks, man. Welcome. How's it going?
Good. It's obviously always a pleasure. I love joining the show. I'm even more excited that it is on the first, it's ring night for the Bucks. So it's a big game.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. It's going to be a great moment for you and all the Buck fans. So they're going to get their rings, and they're going to get us set here in the NBA tip-off. Before we get into tonight's games, I wanted to talk about the NBA flash sale, right? We got the big promo going on here today. Talk to me a little bit about the package and like your involvement here. And you're also you have an NBA podcast. Like let's plug that too. I mean, it's NBA season.
So from now until 7 p.m. lock tomorrow, which will be the 20th of October, you can get $50 off your NBA DFS package. It includes the optimizer this year, and the optimizer is incredible if you haven't tried it for other sports. All in-house, Fast City Fears rankings, daily streams, the chat and the Discord, the shows, premium content, and some really cool tools. I know we are introducing some new ones throughout the season to give you an edge, a single entry, pace tools, literally everything you can think of. Coming to NBA this season. And yeah, the NBA podcast, last year was a bit more DFS focused, but we want to kind of open it up for betting season long, best ball with the explosion that industry has had, plus DFS. So we're going to be doing 2 episodes a week Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll record one tonight after the Bucks game. So it's all systems go for NBA right now.
Yeah, it really is. And I messed that up off the top. I thought it was locked tonight. It's tomorrow, so you still have some time.
Tomorrow.
Nice. You still have some time here today if you're watching, and we'll plug it again tomorrow, of course. But yeah, an opportunity to jump in there, and you're going to be on the streams too. Are you Quasenberg DFS? We got Zach, and is that the three? You got the dream team? Are you guys all back together again?
No, Stefano, it's me, Kyle, and Zach tonight to open up.
Okay. All right.
Stefano, he's like Tino. He's just a little scared, I guess.
I get that. I get it. Yeah, he's a little scared. Towards the end of the next segment, I wanted to break up the two segments here. We'll talk Nets and Bucks, and then we'll talk Lakers and Warriors. And then I wanted to get your thoughts on some futures and also MVP odds. Tino is like writing us in the comment section. The Bucks probably shouldn't have scheduled the Nets for a ring night. But then again, the Bucks can only handle the Nets without Kyrie. So here we go. Yeah, big man there chirping behind the computer. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. All good. And you know what? When we get to futures, Zach and Steph, they gave Bucks, and they told me not to tell you. But I said, listen, I'm telling them immediately. They said they loved the Bucks at 9-1. They said, don't tell that to Metz, but we really do like the Bucks. I don't know if they can go back to back, but here we go. Let's start with this. Yeah. The boards are made from our guy George, 3 putts for par. And the odds have kind of changed. I mean, I think they'll go back and forth all day. But the Nets plus 106, the Bucks minus 108, Bucks minus 1. Look, Tino brings up the championship boards right away. He said, wants to get in there. He said, look, the Nets are favored. So here's the game player board here. So yeah, I'm looking at our free prop shop calculator. I see Bucks. I see the Nets at plus 100, live odds here at minus 114. So I mean, it hasn't changed too much. Yeah. But the Bucks are still favored here by a point, and the total is at 233.5. So wow, it's come down a little bit. What do you make of just this first game here?
So I have my reservations on both sides with this game. It is ring night for the Bucks. There's the championship hangover, very very short offseason, especially for them. And on the Nets side, like Kyrie is obviously not going to be here, but they do still have 2 of the best players in the world. I am like this total or the spread, it opened up Brooklyn minus 1.5, and it's literally flip-flop every day. It's flip-flopped between someone being favored. Because of that, I'm just staying away from the spread. But I got in on the total at under 239.5 about a week ago. Nice. And it's like steamed down. Like you said, it's at 233.5 now. I don't know how comfortable I feel with that under. But if you can if it gets back up to 236 or higher, that's an under I'd feel comfortable taking, which sounds crazy with the Nets team. But if you're looking strictly at the playoffs, which I know this isn't a playoff game, I think it was 5 of the 6 games in that series, the 7 games in that series went under that number by like quite a large margin. The Nets defense takes a lot of slack, but when they actually try, they're not a bad defensive unit. So they might feel like they have something to prove in this game, and I don't see this being – and it's the first game of the season too, so I expect some rust on both sides. I don't see this being a 130 to 125 finish by any means.
What do you think about some props, like Giannis 12.5 boards? What do you think about that one?
I have over on Giannis 12.5 rebounds. Nice. I also – James Harden at 8.5 assists is just way too low. Steph and I were talking about that this weekend. It might be up to 9.5, which I would still take, but you could get his 8.5 rebounds. You get over at minus 120. Let me double check. I believe it was DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook minus 120. I got it yesterday. It might still be available, but his double odds were minus 140. So if you look at how those correlate, like, are they assuming he's not going to score 10 points? It just doesn't make sense. So I'm just taking the value with the 8.5 assists, especially with Kyrie out, 32% assist rate. So it's hard to kind of turn that down. He's also projected to lead the league in assists at minus 170. So it seems like a free bet.
I'm seeing now James Harden using our prop shop 9.5 is minus 139. This is what
I'd still be okay with that.
You still take that, and then you can get 10.5 at plus 115 at FanDuel. One thing I want to say, and I always say this, but honestly, guys, like FTN alerts on the Twitter machine. If you don't have Twitter, it's worth it just to sign up and follow our Twitter accounts. Follow Metz, follow Quasenberg DFS, follow these sharp minds. But FTN alerts, you just get that bet right away. And if you are subbed, you're in the Discord, and some things that we like to do. I know Benny does this a lot. Like, hey guys, like this is a bet that I like. This could change. He notifies everybody. But if you're following FTN alerts on the Twitter machine, Then you're going to get notified when the bet is made. And like you said, I mean, you got under 239 like a couple weeks ago. Now we're here at 235 or 233, right? It's crazy how much it's dropped down over the past couple of days. So that's the perk of following FTN alerts. It's a sneaky little account. You can put the notifications on, then you get notified anytime anyone makes a bet. And something cool with our FTN bet package this year is that you get bets across every single sport, which is super cool. It's not just NBA, NHL, or NFL. Anything else from this game?
From this game, not particularly.
I think the Bucks win the game, though, Metz. Like, you may not want to say it, but I think the Bucks win.
I do. I'm not going to bet on. I am going into the year refusing to bet on Bucks outright or spreads. It's just too much of a conflict of interest last year. But I do.
Sure.
I think they win. I mean, they're going to be like gassed up for this game, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, let's do Lakers. Tino, I thought we were going to take a break. We'll do futures on the other side of the break. So let's tee up this Lakers and Warriors game here tonight. It's a little bit of a new look Lakers squad here with Russell Westbrook on the team. You got Rondo and Melo and LeBron, and so I joked with Steph and Zach when they were on, like, what year is it with this Lakers squad, and do they have the outside shooting to compete here? So tonight they are favored by 3 against the Warriors, plus 135, as you see there for Golden State, minus 152. And the total is at 228. I don't know if we got a live action. Man, it's dropped down. So I gave these boards last night to our guy, George. So that's down to 226. I don't think we've seen any movement. Oh, Lakers 3.5. And the money line, Warriors, you can get at plus 140 using our free parlay calculator, and the Lakers at minus 155 if you are backing them over at DraftKings. Talk to me about this game and also like your thoughts long term on the Lakers.
This is a hard game for me to bet off the bat because, like you said, there's so many new pieces. I really on both teams, like Steph coming back healthy, Jordan Poole's emergence, Otto Porter, and then with the Lakers, Russell Westbrook. What is he going to do for this offense? Like if it's up to me, I don't think he's going to do much. If I'm being transparent, I'm not a Westbrook guy. But from a betting angle, I'm kind of staying away from the game in terms of the spread and the total as a whole right now. I think I would still lean the under in this game just because of the pace and the defensive intensity the Lakers play. But that might change with Russell Westbrook now because he likes to push the pace. I have more interest in looking at some of the props. I know that Westbrook is here, but LeBron has been adamant for the last 2 years about running this offense through Anthony Davis, and his props just feel a little low. 24.5 points is fine. But you can get him over 8.5 rebounds and plus money for a double-double. I know it's a big if, but if he's on the court for 35 minutes, I don't think that should be plus money. I know Benny also really liked over 2.5 steals plus blocks for Anthony Davis, and you and I both know how quickly he can rack those up, especially if this pace is increased. More possessions just give him more opportunities to do this. The other line that I've been teetering back and forth on, Jordan Poole's points prop is at 18.5. That seems pretty high, but that also might indicate that he is going to have a very significant role. And we saw him just blaze through the preseason, averaging over 21 points a game. Yeah. Where would you lean on Jordan Poole?
I would lean on the over. Yeah, I would lean on.
I like it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty high as well, but I think he's gonna be a factor for this team until we get Clay back healthy, which is gonna be some time. So I mean, I think somebody else really has to step up and score here. So it's probably honestly one that I won't bet with Poole, but I kind of have a feel to the over, and I wonder if he could be. I don't know if he'll be sneaky, but I wonder if are you gonna have any exposure to him in DFS here tonight?
I think he's one of the easiest DFS plays on the slate. Yeah. I just actually published my value play article on FTN Daily. So that obviously comes with the early bird and the flash sale. He's under $5,000 on both FanDuel and DraftKings. It's just on a 2-game slate, it's very hard to pass up. And he's going to be extremely, extremely popular. So if he does go for 25 points, 5 assists, you're pretty far behind the $8. I don't know any other player that cheap that's going to do something like that.
I was looking at Westbrook's rebound totals. Now, in the past, he's somebody that I always 9.5 of plus money is something I would take in the past, but AD there, right?
And LeBron, it's a little different now, which is why I just with a lot of his props specifically, I kind of want to take a wait and see approach and how he gels with this team and what kind of system they're going to run, because he could be a vacuum like he has been in the past, but it's almost way harder to see that happening with Anthony Davis and LeBron there.
Exactly. Yeah. Like some of these props that you would see before in the past, like points and assists, 27.5. Like I would jump
You'd
all
hammer
over that in the
yeah.
past. Yeah. But now I think we have to be a little hesitant. I agree.
Yeah.
Just to see how this Lakers team is going to gel. Do you think Steph said that he thought the Lakers were completely overrated? He didn't even like them to win the division. We've seen the winner, or in the last, I think it's since 2014, one of the teams from the Pacific have been to the NBA Finals. Obviously, the Warriors and the Lakers, and then the Suns last year. Do you think they have the outside shooting to make a real legitimate push here? I know that they're favored here, but
the outside shooting is their biggest hangup. My thing is, like, I'm also pretty bearish on the Lakers, but I don't think the West got much better with Kawhi. I think Kawhi is likely out for the season, so that. I think the Clippers would have been their biggest threat, and I think that takes them away from that without Kawhi, although I do think Paul George is great. You're looking at the rest of this conference, Utah, Phoenix. Like, I don't know if the Lakers stars perform how the Lakers expect them to. I don't see anyone in the West stopping this team. I still like them to at least make the conference finals, but I would probably avoid betting them winning the conference right now. I think they'll win the division just fine.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of value on the Warriors. Let's take a quick timeout. We'll keep you here for another segment if you don't mind. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the NBA futures, and as well as like just straight up teams to win the championship, and also some MVP odds as well. So keep your lock. Mean Streets continues here. Joe Metz and myself here on Game Plus Network. You're watching Mean Streets here on a Game Plus Network. Chris Meaney and Joe Metz here with you. JMetz34 on the Twitter machine. We just talked about the NBA DFS package. I trip up over all the sports in October, man, because they're all happening.
But it is the best time of year. It's not even close.
It really? Yeah, it is not even close. We got our guy George here. He's watching. He's hanging out here with us. He says, "Banger sweater, dude." Go,
I appreciate it,
banger
George.
Sweater.
Banger graphics.
Yes.
I'll respond with the compliment as well.
Yeah, he does man. He really does take care of us over at FTN. He
does.
is the GOAT for sure. Okay. Let's bring up, Tino, those championship odds that you wanted to get to right away with the Nets. I understand why you wanted to do that at plus 205 here. The Nets favored. The Lakers at 4-1. Bucks at 9-1. Warriors 11-1. You got the Jazz in there at 15-1. The Suns at 17. You mentioned the Clippers without Kawhi. Tough bet there at 17-1. Who knows what the heck's going to happen with Ben Simmons? I have no idea. I don't know if you have any clue. 17-1. Denver without Murray's tough for a little bit here at 20-1. And then some deeper long shot odds here I put on the board. We could have really cut it off, I think, at maybe Denver. But the Heat, bringing Kyle Lowry, probably a good defensive squad. Dallas at 28-1, and then Atlanta at 35-1. Man, you know what? Like, this isn't a homer thing, but you got to like the Bucks at 9-1. Like, that's some good value, man.
Yeah, I really do. Especially, it's not necessarily I just think they're a clear-cut favorite to win outright. I just think the value compared to the Nets there is, like, I think the gap's way too big. I don't think the Bucks should be lower than, like, plus 500. To win the championship. So especially now with the Kyrie situation and Ben Simmons, like you said, Ben Simmons just got ejected because he got suspended the games. He got ejected from practice yesterday. So that team is in complete shambles, and shambles might be an understatement. So I know you're an Eagles fan, but pray for those people that are Eagles and Sixers fans, because I don't know.
Josh Kawhi.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll pray for Josh. Yeah. And he's a big Flyers fan, too. I mean, his Flyers won last night, but yeah, there's lots going on in Philadelphia. I mean, even the Phillies have been overrated for a couple of years.
But I think you're right. Like, there is value here. And you look at the rest of the board, and I don't see any other standout value that I feel fully comfortable with. So homerism aside, I would if I were to bet on one team, it would be the Bucks to win the championship. I this year don't have a championship pick. I opted for a long shot MVP pick instead, and like a handful of team futures, but it would be the Bucks if I had to bet.
Nice. I think the Warriors are interesting because they're going to get Clay back soon, and we know what they can do at full health. I still think they have a lot of decent pieces. They could make some sort of move to add a piece, a depth, maybe somebody to come off the bench and help them out. But let's bring up those MVP odds because I think the Warriors are interesting. I believe we just saw them at 11-1, but the MVP here, like Curry at 9-1, is kind of interesting as well. James Harden at 20-1, I think it definitely stands out as another guy. What do you make of this board here?
James Harden MVP is probably my favorite bet of the season right now. I got him at 25-1 on Bet Rivers. I bet him again on DraftKings Sportsbook yesterday at 20-1. I think even with Kyrie in, James Harden should never be 20-1 to win MVP, in my opinion. Especially, and you if you're looking for value, like if the Nets are clearly right now the overwhelming betting favorite to win the title, they're going to need more than like a good season from Kevin Durant to do that. Like if they are going to have a title contending season, James Harden's going to be a big part of that. Stock only goes up with Kyrie out, and I cannot believe that books have not adjusted yet. Like again, you can still get 20-1 on DraftKings Sportsbook, and I think that is the best value in the future in the market right now.
Yeah, we were all in agreement on Friday's episode with Steph and Zach with that. That's in the bet tracker for me as well. George says Dame year 100%. I get it, Dame. It's not bad. What do you think of this bet? Is crazy. This one I brought up to the guys as well. Now I don't think that Harden's going to lead the league in points, but he is 40-1 to lead the league in points, like points per game. Like that's. I mean, he's obviously a distributor. It's
anytime, but the thing is, anytime you see someone do it before within the last 5 years when they're still in their prime, it's like 40-1 just feels disrespectful.
Like what happens if KD misses some time? Like what if KD goes out and like we don't know about Kyrie, but what if this is just, I mean, obviously the Nets would be in shambles if they were without KD and then Kyrie doesn't come back, but like Harden could go back to his, Rockets days where he's just jacking up a ton of shots. I know that he's an assist guy and it's going to be KD probably who leads that team in points per game, but at 40-1, dude, are you kidding me? That's at DraftKings. I thought like that one stood out to me. Colin Sexton's 40-1.
Yeah, that's a bet to hammer. I absolutely love the bet.
Yeah. Okay. Any final words here on the way out?
The only a couple of futures that I absolutely love. Like I went pretty in depth on the podcast a few episodes talking about just team win totals, and there are just some complete misprices. I think Denver at 47.5 is a misprice in a full season, even without Jamal Murray for half the year. They're a regular season team, and you can get them at even odds on DraftKings Sportsbook over 47.5 wins. And I'm trying not to let preseason affect my judgment too much, but Chicago over 42.5. I think it's up to 43.5 now. Like they look really good. And it's not a team that I expect to go deep in the playoffs. But again, it doesn't matter. Like we're talking about 82 regular season games. They have enough pieces in that starting lineup to win a lot of regular season games. And there are some really bad teams that they'll play in the Eastern Conference. So that's another one that I absolutely love.
Yeah, we gave that one out on the show as well. I'm in agreement with you on the Bulls. I think I liked their offseason as well. So check out the FTN NBA podcast with Metz, and it'll help you out from a betting standpoint, a DFS standpoint, and you'll get a lot of usage out of it as well if you're a season-long player. I know there's a lot of people watching the show that's still like the old school season-long. I don't play in a lot of season-long basketball. I have a couple leagues, but I'm into the betting and I love the props and the DFS, and I think you do a great job on that show as well. Appreciate your time, man. Enjoy the ring ceremony tonight and try not to rub it in too much to Tino. Give Steph the gears, but Tino, he does. Oh yeah, he helps
Tino and I are on good terms with this. Steph, if Steph keeps chirping, I'm not going to close my mouth.
There you go. That's what I want to hear. Yeah, Tino was afraid to jump on here today, but we can give him a little bit of a pass. But yeah, you make sure you give Steph all the business when your Bucks blow out the Nets here tonight. Appreciate it, dude. We're going to continue here on Mean Streets. We're going to switch gears. We're going to talk a little hockey. And we got some baseball picks as well. Keep her locked. Chris Meaney here with you on Mean Streets. We're going to switch gears here a little bit and talk some NHL. Metz is right. I mean, October is just fantastic. So I dove into, actually, Eric Young and myself and Dango Betselli. We talked about it off the top. We really dove into all 11 games from a DFS and a betting standpoint. So this is kind of what I'm feeling for just straight up money line picks here today. And it is led by the Florida Panthers as they have a date with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I like the Panthers here today. Last night, I was able to get them at plus 134. So plus 134 for the Panthers. I don't think that you can get this right now at 134. Oh my goodness, plus 105. People are really hammering the Panthers here tonight. Man, before puck drop, they may be favorites in this game, but I still like them. They won't get higher than minus 120 here tonight. If you've been following along, I love this Panthers team. I don't think that they have a hole on their squad. I really don't. It's all about Sergei Bobrovsky and Spencer Knight, who's going to make his debut here tonight. Not his NHL debut. He played 4 games last year in the regular season with the Panthers, and he won them all. He won a playoff game against Tampa. And I've also said on this show that, yes, the Lightning are still good, but they're going to feel the effects of some of the players that they've lost, right? You won back-to-back cups. You have the short offseason, back-to-back off seasons. They were like compressed schedules, and they're missing a lot of players. Like, they're missing an entire line of Yanni Gourde, Barclay Goodrow, and Blake Coleman. All those guys are gone from the team. Yes, it was their third line, but it was better than a lot of people's second lines. And if you watched Lightning over the past couple of years, it was that line who led the team in ice time. It was Yanni Gourde who led the team in faceoffs. Not just wins, but taking faceoffs, playing shorthanded, playing on the power play, leading the team in 5-on-5 ice time. He's gone. You're missing that entire third line. You lose David Savard. You get the addition of Corey Perry, who's just a fourth line guy. And now is he going to play in a top 6 role? Now Nikita Kucherov is going to be sidelined here for the next few weeks. So I think Tampa Bay is going to go through something this season. I do believe that they'll make the playoffs. They didn't need Kucherov last year. You can plug him on a long-term IR. You get him back for the playoffs, and he was a boss. But they need him this season. They're missing a lot of guys here tonight. And I thought the Panthers played really, really good hockey last year against the Lightning in the first round, despite losing that round. I thought they took them. I thought that they controlled the play at 5-on-5. They had some special teams moments. They took too many penalties in Tampa. The power play is so lethal, and they didn't really get the goaltending. But, plus 134, another example of why FTN Alerts is the bet Twitter handle for you. Make this bet. You get notified. I jump in the Discord, guys. Plus 34. Jump on it now. FanDuel. I still like them at plus 104. I like the Canucks here, too, at minus 135. That is, things are changing here today. I mean, these boards were made a while ago. That's at minus 150 now. I still like them. I'd go as high as minus 155, minus 160. Put them into a parlay. The Canucks in Buffalo to take on the Sabres. I like the Kings as road dogs here tonight, plus 125. I think this is a really improved hockey team as well. This is a team that I'm going to jump on. Most times they're going to be dogs on the road. They really took it to Vegas in the first game, and then they lost that second game of the season. But I like the addition of Victor Arvidsson. I love the addition of Philip Deneau. And what you're seeing with Philip Deneau is, you're not going to see him from an offensive standpoint hit the box score too often. He's a defensive forward who can contribute a little bit offensively, but he's one of the better two-way players in the league. But the thing with Philip Deneau is that he's going to be playing against the opposing team's top forwards. And that's going to open up things for Anze Kopitar. And we've already seen Kopitar a hell of a start so far to start the season. I believe he has 4 goals. He picked up a hat trick in the first game. Arvidsson playing on that line, going to make, his return to Nashville to play against his former team. He has at least 5 shots in each of his first 2 games. We'll get to shot props in the next segment. But I like the Kings. I like Calvin Peterson in net. I think he's a really strong goalie. I do believe he is the starter, not Jonathan Quick. Quick got the second start, but Peterson got the opening start, and I do believe he is the guy. And he's a really good goalie. Drew Doughty has a lot to offer, too. I know the analytical people are not in on Drew Doughty. They don't think he has a lot to offer, but he looked really strong there. And then the final game that you saw on the board, the New York Islanders. The Islanders, anytime I can get them here at usually even money on the road, I'll probably take a shot on them. They haven't looked good to start the season. Ilya Sorokin hasn't looked great, but on the other side, the Chicago Blackhawks, they have some offensive firepower. I like Patrick Kane. I like Alex DeBrincat. I like the fact that Kirby Dach is back. He's centering the number 1 line. The Tyler Johnson experiment didn't last too long. He's still getting some power play time. The Blackhawks do have a lot to offer from an offensive standpoint, but they are still going to be one of the leaders in terms of allowing high danger chances and high quality chances as well. Last year, they were number 1 in high danger chances allowed at 5-5. They had the highest expected goal rate in the NHL, and they were top 3 or 5 in every single offensive category, and not the good ones. Like, I'm talking scoring chances allowed, shots allowed, high danger chances allowed. The quality of chances that they gave up last season, tremendous. And this season, it's going to carry over. Like, Seth Jones is a good defenseman, an offensive defenseman, but he's not like $9 million. He's not really worth that. He has some holes in his defensive game. And you saw it right away with Marc-Andre Fleury. Marc-Andre Fleury, in his first start with the Blackhawks, he had faced over 17 shots in that first period, and 10 of them were high danger chances. Last year at 5-5, the Golden Knights, they allowed fewer than 10 high danger chances per 60 minutes at 5-5. It's a massive difference between Chicago to Vegas, or Vegas to Chicago, whatever. A massive difference, because the quality of the teams, the structure is not as sound in Chicago as it is in Vegas. So that's why he's going to be, you're going to see the ratios. It's going to blow up your fantasy teams. Unfortunately, he was overdrafted. Last year he had a career year. His first year sub-2 goals against average. So I expect a bounce back from Ilya Sorokin and this Islanders team. Defensively, they're going to get it right. They're one of the better defensive teams in the league. They just had a bit of a slow start. And guess what? One of their games came against the high-powered Florida Panthers. I'm telling you, that team is absolutely legit. Get in on them now. Like 20-1 to win the Stanley Cup's not going to last too long. So bounce back here from the Islanders. Those are the 5 teams I'm feeling on the money line here tonight. We'll take a break, and I got some shot props for you as well. So Mean Streets continues here on Game Plus Network. $11 games on the ice tonight. A busy night in the NHL. A lot of action over at FTN at daily.com, FTNbets.com, FTNfantasy.com. Make sure you are subscribed to Dangle Bet Selly. If you are subscribed, wherever it is that you listen, heck, if you're just watching along, show me that you're subscribed to the FTN YouTube page. Send me that at Chris Meaney. Slide in the DMs, reach out at meanstreetsftn@gmail.com, meanstreetsftn@gmail.com. Show me you're subscribed, and we'll get you in the draw to win a betting package. Here are the shot props I'm feeling tonight. Honestly, I got about 10. There's 11 games. I basically got a shot prop in the bet tracker from every game, but I wanted to narrow it down to like my top 5 here. So I'm starting with Sam Bennett. I think we just continue to ride this out until books adjust. He's plus money over at DraftKings. Those north of the border, Bet365. He's minus 110 here for 2.5 shots. He's cleared 2.5 in each of his first 2 games here this season. He's coming off a hat trick. He's averaging 4 shots per game in 17 contests with the Florida Panthers. Forget Sam Bennett of the Calgary Flames days. They couldn't find a way to make him productive. He was a healthy scratch. He was playing 3rd and 4th line minutes. This guy is inside the top 6 with the Panthers. He's getting top power play time. He's playing with one of the better setups in the league, setup mans in the league in Jonathan Huberdeau. So Bennett at 2.5 shots, giddy up. Dustin Brown also at 2.5 shots. You can get him at minus, I think, 110. Some books have him at plus money. He's kind of the guy that usually is just forgotten about. He's like, I don't want to call him automatic, but he's a volume shooter. He's not afraid to shoot the puck. Him and Victor Arvidsson are both strong plays here today. I went with Brown because Arvidsson's around minus 130. But Brown's basically even money here. He's cleared 2.5 shots in each of his first 2 games. And then Cole Caulfield, Didn't get it in his last game. He had 2 shots, but he cleared it in his first 2 games. He's just a volume shooter. He loves to shoot the puck. The shot attempts are usually 5 or 6 per game with Caulfield. We have a bit of a sample size dating back to last year on the big stage, really too, in the playoffs under the bright lights, and he still was very productive. So for 2.5 shots, playing on that top line, getting top power play time, I like him. On the other side in that game, I also like Timo Meier, but he's juiced to the over at -140. But he had 8 shots in his first game, so a couple different options there in the Kings and the Preds game, and the Habs and the Sharks game. And then Elias Pettersson here at 2.5 shots. He didn't get in his last game, but he cleared it in his first 2 games. The last game, he only had 1 shot, but he had 6 shot attempts. He rang one off the bar, but the shot attempts were there, so it was very encouraging to see. It's not like he's just a guy that kind of disappeared. There's inconsistencies in his game. He's going to get top minutes on the power play. He's the trigger man on that first power play unit. He's the first-line setter on this Canucks team in a great spot in Buffalo against the Sabres. And then Nikolai Ehlers here to wrap us up at 2.5 shots. I do like Kyle Connor as well. Ehlers and Connor are always kind of on my short list. They're both volume shooters on this Winnipeg Jets team, and I do like the spot here tonight against Minnesota. They're a sound defensive squad, but Ehlers, I like the fact that he's away from that first power play unit. The first power play unit really is Blake Wheeler and Scheifele kind of playing pitch and catch, and then they try to get it over to the half boards for Kyle Connor. And that's kind of my strategy when it comes to these shot props. I like to take guys who are the trigger men on their power play units. And all of these guys are. And for Ehlers, he's on that second unit. So he gets away from Scheifele and Connor and Blake Wheeler, and he runs the point, kind of the point in the half boards on the left side for the Jets on the power play. And the offense runs through him for that second unit. Plus at 5-on-5, he's one of the leaders in shot attempts dating back to last season as well. So those are the shot props. It's kind of what I'm feeling. You can parlay those. You can play them as singles. Good luck. A lot more over at ftmbets.com. And again, NHL is the promo code for you. We're going to continue to give picks here on the show with some parlays, some teasers, mostly shot prop parlays over there as well to help you out. So use that promo code NHL. All right, we've hit on all of the sports but baseball. So we're going to talk baseball in here next. There's 2 games, and the Dodgers need a W. They got their ace Walker Buehler on the bump against Charlie Morton. It's going to be a phenomenal matchup. We're going to break that down and break down the red-hot Boston Red Sox as well. Keep her locked. You're watching Mean Streets here on a Game Plus Network. I got my phone out. I got some baseball picks here in a minute. We got like 3 minutes. But what Metz was talking about with Simmons, I was unaware what happened. And I just got the notification. So sources, quote, Doc Rivers asked Ben Simmons to join a defensive drill at practice. Simmons refused. Rivers asked again. Simmons said no again. And Rivers then told Simmons he should go home. So Simmons dropped the ball and left. My goodness, what is going on in Philadelphia? I feel bad for Ben Simmons. I mean, he was called out by Doc Rivers a couple of years ago when he joined the squad and said he didn't think that he was like a championship winning point guard. Like, dude, like, why don't you talk him up a little bit instead of taking shots at him? Maybe if you talked him up just slightly, that's the way I look at things. Instead of being so negative, you talk him up a little bit and say, yeah, he needs to work on a couple things, but we believe in Ben Simmons. And just say that you don't believe in him. Like, how do you think that's going to go? And then you have this nonsense to start as well. Crazy stuff in Philadelphia. I feel for Simmons. I think he definitely needs a change of scenery. Taking my ball and going home. He shouldn't have dropped the ball. He should have just took the ball and walked home, right? It is what it is. George is hanging out here still in the show. I love you, buddy. Sox in 5. Insert Kobe counting to 5 gift. I'm on him again. How could you not? How could you not be on the Boston Red Sox here again tonight? We hit the total at 9.5 yesterday at plus money. It is 10 here today. I'm going right back to Boston. This team is just straight up feeling it. Offensively, they're setting records. The first team in MLB history to record at least 10 hits in 6 straight postseason games. It seems like every single time I'm flicking around. I got a couple TVs. October's crazy. Lots of sports going on. It's like, oh, I flick over, bases loaded, grand slam. Bases loaded, grand slam. Kiki, diving catch, ends the inning. First guy up to the plate, homer. It's like they're just so hot right now. I don't know how you can't continue to ride them out. You get them at minus 130 using the parlay calculator. Get those best possible odds. The total's at 10. I don't care. Zach Greinke, what's he going to go? An inning or two here today, and then they're going to turn it over to Christian Javier, who I do like, by the way. 4 2/3 scoreless innings in the postseason here so far. He played against the Red Sox in game 1. He went 2 innings. He only gave up a hit, and he had 4 strikeouts. I just don't care. Like, this Red Sox offense is so hot. And, for Nick Pivetta, he did have a strong outing against the Astros earlier in the year. And Greinke was okay, but it was a June start. Like, a lot has changed since that outing. He gave up 7 hits and 4 earned runs. So, actually, Greinke wasn't all that good against the Sox. But Pivetta was decent in his outing against the Astros. The one thing with Pivetta, though, is he can rack up a few punch outs. It's just he's prone to give up a home run or two. He's got the 5.40 ERA at home. 17 of the 24 bombs he's allowed this season came at Fenway. I do like the Red Sox. I think that they win this game. I'll take them and the over. The over's the best play in this game, but also, I think he does give up a couple runs, so the Astros, I think, will do their part on offense to get us to that total. But how can we not ride this out with Boston? I know producer Tino is going to ride this out with the Atlanta Braves, but I think the Dodgers get this W here today. They're really juiced, on the money line, so it's hard to take them, but you can take like minus 184. Like, I'm not really into that, but you can take them and the under, right? We're not seeing a lot of offense in this series, a couple walk-offs for the Braves. Man, the postseason has been phenomenal. But we got Charlie Morton and Walker Buehler here today. Buehler's got a solid 2.05 ERA in 123 home innings. He had a start August 31st against Atlanta at home, 7 innings. He had 2 earned runs, 5K, only 4 hits. And Charlie Morton just so happened to pitch in that same game, and he was good in that contest. 8K, 1 earned run, 7 hits, 6 innings. He's really strong as well, but I like the under here. You can get that at 7.5. If you go Dodgers and under, could make it worth your money. But Morton pretty strong on the road as well. 3.06 ERA in 88 innings. Red Sox and the over, Dodgers and the under, and a whole lot of bets over at ftmbets.com. Thanks for taking the time to hang out here. Have a fantastic night. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.